Welcome to the Village Vision podcast. My name's Dr. Crystal Morrison, and I'm honored to be your host on this incredible journey. As a firm believer in the power of a united village, I'm thrilled to bring you inspiring stories, research, and projects that break down barriers in child and family care. Through heartfelt conversations with experts, advocates, and those with lived experiences, we'll showcase the transformative impact of collective support. So join me on the Village Vision podcast as we explore the remarkable collaborations that lead to better outcomes, foster a sense of community, and inspire action to improve care for ourselves and everyone around us. Today, I'm here with Dr. Jess Patton. Dr. Patton is an educator, speaker, and advocate, and she experiences the world of special needs as both a parent and a professional. In addition to her 20 years in education, she is also the founder and president of Sense of Connection, a nonprofit serving the autism community, as well as the owner of Patton Advocacy and Consulting. With her extensive experience, Dr. Patton understands that working with children with special needs can be filled with the most rewarding moments, intertwined with some extremely difficult struggles. Welcome, Dr. Patton.
Thank you for having me.
So we're definitely going to talk about your nonprofit and your consulting work. But before we go there, I want you to share with the listeners the why behind your work.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a mom of two teenage boys diagnosed on the spectrum. They also have some other diagnoses, but the one I'd like to highlight is they both have a blood clotting disorder. So it's a very unique experience having two children with autism and sensory needs. Got to be very careful, especially because they're sensory seekers, and blood clotting disorder doesn't lend to rough and tough and sports play. So those two are my why. And being a mom in a very rural area, in a very close-knit family, we didn't have a lot of access to services. And when I mean services, I mean therapies, ABA, OT, PT, all those things that, are needed to help our children grow and learn with special needs. When we live in a urban or a more city area, we can walk down a couple blocks and access speech and language therapy, occupational therapy, all the services that our child would need to be successful. In the country, we don't have easy access to it. And a lot of times our families don't have transportation or don't have access to public transportation. And so even if they didn't drive a car or own a car or have the capabilities to drive, having that mass transit is not always available. The other thing that I looked at was the social stigma and the isolation. And I have found that for many factors, close-knit families, just, traditional views, that, like I mentioned earlier, our families just feel so isolated. And so it's connected into their child's behaviors. We serve the autism community with 3 different prongs. We provide education and research for our families. We do things at local farms. We do things at parks, providing just play dates, things for our families so they feel connected. We also do first responder trainings. It's very important to me that first responders, the people who are going to save our lives, be there first on the scene, that they understand that, first of all, you met one child with autism, you've only met one child with autism. They're not all going to be the same. So I want to be able to just give them that basic education that, okay, they may respond differently. They may run away from you. They may do things that look odd or bizarre, but be prepared for that as much as you can. The other thing that we provide is a gift card program. And a lot of our families just don't have access to the equipment. And what I mean by that is, some of our children jump, they love trampolines. A lot of our children like pressure vests, or maybe they love fidgets, or families may not be able to afford those things.
You also do consulting work, Patton Advocacy and Consulting. So talk a little bit about the types of clients you work with and the types of challenges that you're helping them work through.
Sure. So what had happened through the nonprofit, a lot of our families were reaching out about school districts and legal advice. And so it was a little bit out of the nonprofit's realm. And because I studied special education law and because it's just, I'm a mom, I went through the process, and it is a process.
Mhm.
And I left that process feeling that, because I had doctor in front of my name, I was treated a little bit differently
Yeah.
than I would have been treated if I was John Smith or Jane Smith.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to make that more fair across the board for everybody. And I saw that different families were being treated differently,
Yeah.
for no reasons, for some reasons. But when the legal calls started coming in, I felt, I need to help these families through the process. They came to me afraid. They came to me almost feeling bullied by either their district or whatever their education source for their child. And they just didn't know what to do.
PhD. I have a PhD. IEPs freaking flip me out because I don't understand. I don't understand a lot of what is in them, and I've been looking at them, for 15 plus years. So I'm sharing this because for our listeners, there are a lot more resources out there now for IEPs, general information that's available online, the basics of IEPs, but um, you should feel completely and totally empowered to ask those questions. There's really not a stupid question when it comes to these things. Patton, what's a key takeaway that you want to leave with our audience?
My key takeaway is, as I'm doing this, as I'm growing and learning myself, I have learned developing that face-to-face relationship. And I do a lot of this through presenting and traveling and just learning and meeting other people and connecting with those moms, those dads, those caregivers, grandma, grandpa, whoever is in that child's life or individual's life, and making that connection and building that community. Me personally, I need that. That helps me with my isolations, the feelings of isolation. That helps me with that social stigma, to know that I'm not alone. And so I love leaving people with, you're not alone. We're out there.
Well, we will also have all of Dr. Patton's contact information in the show notes and available for everybody, so that you'll have all of her information to be able to reach out. Dr. Patton, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This was just a really awesome time. Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you for joining us on this episode of the Village Vision podcast. I hope you found inspiration and valuable insights from our conversation today. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, leave a review, and share, all the things. And thank you. Thank you for being a part of the Village Vision podcast. Take care, and let's keep shining a light on the power of community, collaboration, and care.